is Samuel Fisher. Excited to be back with another guest. Always trying to host the biggest entrepreneurs in the cannabis industry. Today we got a really exciting entrepreneur. I'm excited to talk with him. This is Christopher Violas. He's the CEO of Blaze. We're talking about one of the biggest trailblazers in the industry. He's been going at it since 2016, just helping dispensaries with their operations. And get ROIs on their marketing costs. I'm really excited to talk with you, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Sam. And yeah, it's definitely been a journey in the cannabis space. And realistically, I think we got our first big customers on in like 2018, 2019. But man, it feels like it's been ages. But doing good. Excited to be here. Lots to talk about. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, music to my ears, man, because we're just like, we're about to hit 2 years this year. We're doing everything we can. We're not going to die anytime soon. We're doing well. And it's always refreshing to hear people like yourself that really delayed a couple of years before they started getting sales. I was talking to somebody recently, somebody over in Europe, who's telling me the same thing. He got investors for his tool, which is pretty similar to yours, actually, by the way. And he said that he did not get a sale for a year and a half. And so just imagine, there's just the strength that it takes to continue moving when you're not getting any income. And how was that like your first 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, like those first 2 years, really, when we were kind of building the really laying out the business case, right, for it. I was still working full time at Amazon Web Services. Like I was still, there's lots of stuff happening. It was an idea that was starting to form, and we had brought in Mon, who's our CTO, Mondo, to really start to like shape this thing. And like I said, really hands on keyboard, 2016, 2017, 2018. Again, this is all sort of part-time work, to be honest, at this point. Like we finally had a product, and then Mon went full-time on it in 2018, and I finally left Amazon in 2019 in April when we got our first round of funding. So, realistically, it just, we were kind of making it happen. I've got experience in the cannabis space because I used to own and operate a cannabis delivery service out of California, and I sold that. And so my father and I actually founded that together. We used the proceeds of that to fund Blaze, to get started. So while we didn't have a ton of income, we're definitely investing into the product early. And really, once we got full time, I mean, we were finally off to the races, and really with a dedicated team.
Yeah, and I think, the best is still ahead of you. You've made a lot of progress, I think, in these past, what are we at, 8 years now? 9 years since 2016, long time. And so let's jump into this. And so Blaze is kind of described as this complete cannabis software suite designed to streamline and scale dispensary operations. But I'd like to hear from your perspective, what is Blaze and how does it help dispensaries streamline operations? What does it do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I like to describe Blaze as kind of like a commerce ecosystem, right? So our job is really to partner with these dispensaries. Like we are the operating system, the brains, if you will, of making the dispensary go around, right? And that goes from, things that are customer facing. So your e-commerce website, right? Your actual shopping experience, your, maybe you run a mobile app with us, your kiosk, the in-store experience, down to the bud tender. So we've got, Blaze Retail, which is our point of sale software that does the inventory management, right? The compliance work. And then we've got Blaze Payments to then, finish that sale, whether it be online or in store. That is kind of the third part to our ecosystem. So we get our hands in pretty much everything that the dispensary does, almost everything. And if we don't do it, we integrate with folks to help power that, things like digital displays, like menu boards, for example, in store, or maybe speaking with HR systems like Kaya Push. But all in all, I like to look at it as we've got an e-commerce kind of component. We've got our retail inventory kind of dispensary operations component, and then payments that work throughout that.
Yeah, so a lot of different categories you're really touching upon here. And so I think one thing that kind of stands out when I was looking into your list of employees, what you got going on, I see a lot of former cannabis operators. And so I think that puts you really in a unique position. There's a lot of knowledge that just condensed into this one roof. Do you think that that's played a big role in your growth?
Yeah, it's been huge. And I'm super proud of the approach we've taken to build the talent that we've got at Blaze, right? We're fortunate to, from kind of day one, understand that cannabis folks are very bright, generally speaking. They find solutions to problems that not many people have, right? And with little resources. So yeah, I don't know the exact stat. I would say close to about half the folks that work on our team have experience, whether it be on the brand side or in cannabis operations, on the retail, distribution, cultivation side of the house. And so we're able to, obviously have a lot more empathy with our customers, but we're also able to look at solutions together through similar lenses. So it's been a huge piece of our DNA. We want to continue to build on that. Of course, we're technologists. We understand how this all works, but generally speaking, these flows are unique, right? We're in our own little world of cannabis. And so being able to speak that same language and come to the same, solutions are really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as somebody like yourself, you're operating in multiple countries, at least Canada, the United States, right? And
Yep.
so I think one of the biggest concerns somebody looking at you might immediately think is, well, how do you help us stay compliant? Yeah, you're over there in California, but we're here in, let's say, Colorado. How do I know that you're going to help us stay compliant?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's when you look at the dispensary operation side and compliance and how technology like a point of sale technology would fit for the retail operators, we're really doing a couple things. We're handling a lot of communications back to the track and trace system. So in this case, if you're in Colorado, that would be a metric based state. Metric is a track and trace solution that
Yep.
Colorado uses. It's in many states, but effectively, we're speaking to it when an inventory transfer comes in from a supplier, right? We're saying that, hey, we effectively got it in our system. As that inventory then gets sold, we're sending over the sales data as required by this, whatever governing body to that regulator, any adjustments. So effectively, we're speaking to a lot of these track and trace systems, keeping these folks in compliance there, but also operationally, right? Making sure people don't sell over the daily limits or whatever limit period runs in their specific environment, making sure there's labels, right? If it's a medical state like Ohio, right, making sure that we speak to their PMP or prescription management portal to make sure that we have the latest script from their doctor, right, that they can fulfill against. These are very just unique systems to these states. Sometimes they cross multiple states like a metric or a BioTrack, but effectively that's kind of where we sit. We make sure that you can operationalize and stay in compliance within those the parameters of that state. And then also a critical piece is communicating back to the appropriate body that's overlooking that state.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of value in that because once you start getting involved in these bureaucratic stuff, it could be a huge headache for you. Say we're looking at a dispensary owner who probably is investing a lot, maybe has to spend $50,000 a month just to be broke. Inventory, their staff and overhead and all that, and then on top of that to have to deal with compliance, it's just a massive headache. And so I think it's really one of your biggest strong suits. I think that's actually really valuable. Going back to your Blaze Pay, you were talking about that, and so. We're working with a pretty cash-heavy industry. How is it that you're able to do this cashless payments? If you don't mind sharing too much of the secret sauce, or maybe none at all, and why is it such a game changer?
Yeah, I would just say it's two different solutions for two different countries. So I always have to say that right off the bat. Like in Canada, it's federally legal. We can actually take credit cards out there. So there we roll a full system end to end on payments. We're super proud of it. That was launched last year and is doing incredibly well today. So that's Blaze Pay in Canada. When we talk about Blaze Pay in the US, we're really talking about the connective tissue that we built between a lot of different providers in the market. And so these are cashless providers, as you mentioned. When we're talking e-commerce, right, that would be our ACH component, right? So basically, I'm sure you've set up your Venmo, you've logged in through Plaid, and you've kind of connected your bank account. It's kind of that workflow. And then once it's connected, it's one tap checkout. And that's done online. So that's the ACH side. And then there's cashless ATM solutions, which are in store, and there's various methods for that. And so we work with different partners that provide that solution.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of curious how you would pitch this to people who are, maybe hitting up one of your salespeople. They're considering other options in the industry that are similar to Blaze, and so. What would you tell these people about what makes Blaze stand out and why they should choose Blaze over one of your competitors?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you kind of named it earlier, right? A lot of our folks are from this industry, so we know this extremely well. And what really comes with that is we care, we empathize, right? And we always say we're not don't be a provider, be a partner, right? That's what Blaze is. We're a partner with you on this journey, and we've got tons of customers to speak to that. And that's really, while, if you really just say the software is relatively the same, maybe we've got a competitive edge on delivery, or maybe our e-commerce is better. Like, it really comes down to carrying and partnering with these dispensaries, right? There's a lot of change that happens. And so being able to work through that change management together and really turning your technology into, again, like a partner and an offensive tool, it really can change, these businesses fundamentally. I guess if you were to say, like, direct, let's bust out the comparison chart feature by feature. Generally, we're really strong when it comes to e-commerce, right? We do not have iframe solutions. We do not believe in that. That's never been on Blaze. We really believe in having a native site. And that comes down to having the appropriate schema markup. So when product pages, when a product's added in the point of sale and we throw it up on e-commerce, that's getting indexed properly, right? Making sure that we have the right things, like for images on alt text, so you can have your ADA compliance and all the other things that are needed on this type of journey. We're very, very strong. We're very detail oriented there. And we've really built the platform, the e-commerce platform on top of the point of sale extremely well. And it's hooked into one system. So if you take some of our competitors, they have like an e-commerce system that they can run. They actually have different management tools in there. Like, you can go set the taxes in your e-commerce engine. Why would you want to go set your taxes there and then go do it again in the POS? You kind of want to have it once, right? And kind of have the same setup. You don't want to have any chances for errors. So when it comes to looking at the stack and how it's actually built, we built it in a really smart way so that you can, build everything in the POS, and e-com listens to that POS and that logic tree. It's not making decisions on its own, right? So limits, it's providing the appropriate limits as when you're shopping and creating baskets online and things of that nature. So that gives us an inherent kind of advantage compared to some of our competitors out there. And then you work your way through the POS. And again, we're really strong when it comes to delivery, really strong when it comes to multi-location management, and then payments. We're one of few that actually has a PayFac solution, which is that Canada Blaze Pay solution. So we've got a lot of experience that some of our US competitors just don't have because it's such a weird environment in the US when it comes to payments. So I think we get a lot of advantages, both at kind of who we are level, like intrinsic level, and then also if you just look at the feature set, it's pretty very, very competitive.
Yeah, there's a lot going on under the hood there, but I think kind of just a bounce of what you're saying. You seem like a really nice and approachable guy. I would imagine a lot of people feel like they can send you an email and that you're not just going to ignore them. It's a lot of dispensaries will complain about that when they're dealing with with these giant companies. And I think that helps a lot, honestly, just being an authentic, good person.
The supporting, it's not just me, right? I'm part of a team of almost 100 here, and our CSAT score, right, our customer satisfaction score, these are just to give you a sense of how like the score is derived, right? Like, people will write in with a support ticket during the month or chat in. They then get serviced, right? Our team gets them back on track, whatever they need solved. Then they fill out like this survey at the end, like, are you happy, right? It's like 1 through 10. We get about 10% of those tickets respond. And so we usually get about 1,000 tickets a month, roughly, give or take. So 100 people will stop and fill this thing out. In 2024, on average, we had a 99.8 CSAT score.
Yeah, that's
we had like 8 months of 100%. So you're talking 100 people, roughly, again, on average. The distribution's not always equal every month, but going out of the way and saying 10 out of 10. So that goes back to our customer service team, again, who is a lot our former operators. And again, they care. They want to make sure they get resolution, they get treated properly, and they get back onto their day. So I think that's just another, give you some evidence to why that's so important. I think that's one piece right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine that the results that you deliver people have a big role too. I was just on a sales call earlier today, and the dispensary owner was telling us, I love your services or whatever, but we just have invested so much in marketing and we don't get an ROI. And so this kind of we could talk about what I think about the matter, but let's hear what you think. I'm curious, what marketing strategies work in 2025 to deliver an ROI?
For me, from our angle,
yeah,
I think look, it's very different, right? I can more speak on the digital side. I can speak to some trends, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually seeing the books for many of these operators when it comes to the marketing expenses. It's hard for me to speak to it, but control the controllables, right? That's a phrase that I was taught a lot growing up as an athlete, right? The ref may be, not on your side today, but you control every moment right before that and through that journey. So when it comes to that, right, it's really making sure your house is clean, making sure your brand is clean and memorable. I go to, everything is about merchandising when you're at retail, right? Whether it be digital merchandising or in store. And so the digital side of the house needs to be super clean. That should be, I want to say freebie, but like that's got to be a must have, non-negotiable. Make sure that's a good place. Why? Because again, we don't have Meta today, right? We do have a little relief with X, but really there's only a few people playing around with that at the moment. But we don't have traditional Google engines. So we have to live off of, again, SEO and the relevant marketplaces for top of funnel discovery. It's just what is required. So that's where I really, that's just the non-negotiable is like own that house, make sure it looks and feels like your brand and that it's a good consumer journey. Some websites I see just, you can barely find the shopping button, right? And you want people to go to your site, not just to look at it, but to shop, right? And convert, like it's a big thing. So I think some other things are making sure you've got a clean consumer journey and really looking at that through a funnel version. Look, the reality is it's much more efficient to pack a bunch of orders per hour for a resource than to service someone on the sales floor. So we want a ton of pre-orders that we can pack, think Amazon, and like put them on the shelf for a pickup. Like that's what we want. That's efficient. That's how we're actually going to make a ton of money in the space. So that's really it. Now, of course, I've seen different kind of paper campaigns, boots on the ground, billboard campaigns, Weedmaps, obviously. And look, Weedmaps is a good partner, and so is Leafly. Like top of funnel is important. Everything has its place. And so it's just right tool for the right job. And what are you really trying to optimize? I hope that kind of answers.
No, that was great. I was actually going to follow up on the weed maps. A lot of people will tell me that they're not getting an ROI from their weed maps ads. What do you think about that for 2025? Do you see a recovery? Recently they raised their prices, or what do you think while we're on that topic?
I think, God, it's again big topic, right? A lot of different factors. What I will say, those that optimize Weedmaps tend to do really well. All right. So we have this distribution of folks that are really doing fairly good off it, like pretty damn good. And then you've got some folks that don't. And I think when I look at the folks that don't, a lot of it comes down to, and again, not perfect, broad strokes here. I see a lot of just maintenance issues, right? Like the actual like site itself, like you go to shop on their listing, it's not really up to date and the prices aren't competitive. And you start to look at these different pages and you're like, oh, well, I can see why they're not maybe getting the traction they may want to be getting. Again, a lot of different factors into it, but when I look at control the controllables, like make sure the menu is up to sync, make sure all that stuff's actually happening, and then you check it and you go through that experience once in a while. We've got a great partnership with them. It's a real-time sync with us. Delivery, we can have different pins, we can do a lot of different things, but you need to review this stuff. And so I think there's a lot of just like general housekeeping that could go a long ways for a lot of people. But look, again, Weedmaps is a great partner. They've been very gracious for us and letting us utilize their global catalog, which now all of our customers get. So right when they go to create a product in Blaze, they can type in, I don't know, wild gummies, right? And it pops up and they can click it and it fills in their full product profile. The image is beautiful, right? It looks great. If there's multiple images, they're high res, they're pulled in. The description's properly filled out, which is an SEO win, right? Yeah. A lot of good things that they've done for us and our operators. And so again, it's just know how to use the tool. A lot of people think they just by turning it on, they're going to do well, but it does take work. And there's some management involved. So
yeah, I think it's actually a really interesting point. I know Steve Ripperrip, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, a tax firm. They made a whole business off of dispensaries essentially not knowing their tools. And so in this case, Alpine IQ, he kind of had this intuitive feeling. It's like, hey, you got these cool tools, but you don't know how to use them. I can use them. Do you want me to do this for you? And so that's interesting that you made that point about Weedmaps. Maybe just lack of knowledge on how to use the platform is what's really lacking a lot for that platform. Let's switch gears a little bit more. We talked a lot about Blaze. I'm interested to learn more about you personally. And so you've been in this cannabis thing since 2016, roughly. Correct me if I'm wrong here. And so, you were working at AWS, and then you had a cannabis delivery service that you said you exited out of. Congrats on that. Why go into Blaze? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, again, the timeline, I guess, is I was an operator on this delivery service back in 2010, 2011 is I think when we went out, and then we sold that business in 2014. So like I was an operator really early on, right? And that's because my father was a cannabis attorney, and we kind of knew what was going on in California. And I quickly realized, one, I went to school for information systems. What am I actually doing driving the car or, dispatching the drivers? I really wanted to solve this from a technology layer. The technology was not good, especially back in those days. So we got inspired for that. And I think, I was pretty young. I needed some time to get, better acquainted with the technology world, get some actual real world experience. And so I did that. And that knowing how big technology could be at large, knowing that we started to see a lot of different, what we call like a vertical SaaS players really start to win. These are like the mind bodies of the world. If you ever into like a yoga studio or something like that, very specific vertical based software, right? We started to see that excel. So obviously, hey, we had a new industry popping up. We got in early. We knew about it. I was an operator there. And then seeing the opportunity to solve that very specific vertical problem, like it was just exciting for me. So got some scale with it, right? That the dispensary couldn't give me unless you're like an ease and you could cover the state, which many can't. This was a way to achieve some scale, utilize my skill set, and really get to solve day-to-day problems that I love to do, which is bettering, and solving problems with small businesses. It's just really fun. And I know everyone's going to yell at me, but look, MSOs are still small businesses today. If you actually look at their revenue and you look at everything, like, look, there's what, call it 11,000 dispensaries in the US. I think how many, how many 7-Elevens are in the US? Like probably like 6,000 or 7,000. Like that's just to give you a sense of scale. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just really fun. These service markets like this are very SMB oriented because it's very discrete problem solving, and I enjoy all that stuff. So,
Yeah, do you think Blaze is going to be around in 10, 15 years?
yeah, that's the game plan. So, yeah, I do. I think we've got some really great operators that will be around for a long time. I think we're continuing to evolve. You might see us jump in some other verticals maybe at some point, but right now the mission is cannabis, staying focused, and yeah, I'm excited. So I think bright years ahead for sure, and I just hope the industry gets some relief at some point from the federal government. Man, that's what we all need, and that will move mountains for a lot of people.
Sweet. Yeah, starting to wrap up here. I definitely respect your time. Thank you for coming on. I'm interested though, being a CEO of Blaze. You're also a husband and you're also a father. How do you balance all of that? How do you spend time with your kids and your wife, and also spend time with all these different kids you've
Yeah,
got?
absolutely, man. It's like shout out to my wife. She's awesome. Go Allison. Thank you. Yeah, it's challenging. I think anyone that is a professional, like throw away the CEO title, doesn't really matter here. It's just we're balancing work, family, right? Your personal life, just trying to be a human, right? And a well-rounded human. It's hard. It's doable. Look, I got a couple like non-negotiables in my life that help balance some things. One is, I work out pretty much every day, like early. First thing I do when I have energy and a clear head, 5 a.m., get up and work out, right? And that's running, doing some yoga. Like I did yoga this morning. It was awesome. Lifting, whatever it is. Just like I have to be active. I have to sweat in the morning. And that's just, even if I travel, that's the thing. And that really helps at least keep some stress levels in check. And then just being as present as possible. Like, yeah, I don't get as much time as I'd like. Sometimes I'm traveling with my family, but oftentimes I'm home. And then the time you're home, like really be stuck in and really be focused and present. So, and I think that's for anybody, right? And you gotta love what you do, because if you do, that's not really work. Yes, there's stressful times, but it's really fun to tell my daughter. She's like 3, but try to explain what we do, right? We got our little Target registered. I'm like, yeah, dad works on point of sale. So it's just when you can tie all of it together, it's super fun and really keeps me going. So that's kind of how I balance all that stuff. I've got great friends, as well, super important. And I do take vacation. I like it. I don't take it often, but you can find me camping. We took the family on a road trip last June all the way up to Eureka. Rented a really cool like air trailer. So like I like to get out, like to go outdoors, and I love to get to conferences and just travel. So if we can do all that, there's definitely a way to make it all work. So
Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and start wrap it up here. I definitely respect your time. I think we've gotten a lot of good content from this. Definitely excited about it. But I'm curious. Can you tell me about your first experience using cannabis and what was that like?
yeah, crazy. It was super fun. So God, it must have been end of my freshman year of college, I
So
would
like
say.
19 years old, roughly 18, 19.
Yeah, and I don't get anyone in trouble here, but I was a D1 athlete, and this was after the season, and my teammates was really great. We lived off campus as a freshman. I was not usually you're in the dorms, right? You got all that stuff going on, but we lived together off site, and yeah, it was really fun. Like all got together, did a little powwow around me. We had it was really probably one of the best stories I've heard of actually of getting high for the first time, but
This
it
was
was really great.
this was some of those teammates way back when.
Yeah, I had like, dude, literally 15 people, 20 people inside my inside our little townhouse. It was pretty fun. And it was a whole event that they did for me, which was really cool. So I had a great time, and uh, yeah,
What was it like your first time?
man, got the munchies, and I could not stop laughing. So I had just a great environment, the guys there, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Something I started using, and then the joke is, I think within like 2 years, we started the dispensary, so it was pretty quick. But yeah, that was the first time.
Awesome, good story. I may have done the same with D1 athletes in college too. Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
Who cares?
Hey, you gotta live life too. It's a lot of effort and time put into your sport, whatever it is, right at that level. So yeah, it's fun. It's no harm, no foul on that.
Yeah, definitely not. These days, you're a little bit older. Imagine you don't like getting super high. You have a wife and kids. You have to kind of stay sharp and also be able to do your work at the same time. What's your favorite product these days? And so when you're lighting up, assuming you're lighting up, or maybe you eat edibles, how do you do it these days, Chris?
Sure, I'm definitely still a flower guy, so I'm pretty straightforward on that. Like the OGs, usually I'm at night when I'm trying to go to bed or something. And then when I travel, edibles are really great just for like time zone adjustments. I go to East Coast, so yeah, those are pretty much the main methods that are used over here.
Do you like the pre rolls? Do you like the blunts?
I'm not. I like pre rolls. I really am a fan of wrapping. If you're gonna wrap a joint, love to wrap my own joint. But yeah, I always challenge people. They say they're in cannabis. I'm like, show me. Like, can you wrap a joint? And you'd be surprised who can and who cannot wrap a joint in this industry at the various levels. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah,
So.
it actually took me years. I was actually in Morocco, and I had like I don't know if you've been to Morocco, and had like this hashish. I was given this thing, and I had to I had to learn then and there because I do not know how to roll a joint. I had to mix in with like cigarettes or whatever. But yeah, going back to you, um, looking forward in the next 4 or 5 years. What do you think? What does your crystal ball say for the future of the cannabis industry in the next 4 or 5 years?
Oh man, I hope we get. I think this banking problem is a real problem in the U.S. I hope we get some relief there. I hope we get some better clarity on where hemp is going. I think the market right now on both sides, like everyone's like, what's going on? Who's regulating what? You got California, you got Texas. Everyone's taking different stances. So I think getting some clarity will be huge, right? Whether it's a new farm bill or whatever form it happens to take. I hope we get some progress on those, right? And I think through that, what's going to happen is we're going to start to get pressure relief from a lot of other things as a result. So I can't quite say, like, I believe Schedule 1's going to happen. I think that's a far-fetched thing to say in this environment, but I think we're going to hopefully see some things around, like some common sense things, like banking. Like, why can't we bank? This is a legitimate industry that's actually banked today. That'd be great, right? Our businesses would be thriving, right, and be more safe if we could do these things. And when I say bank, that's also payment processing. Let's get Visa and MasterCard to the table. Let's get these guys to talk with us. We do a lot of KYC. We do a lot of things to make sure that we're adherent to AML policies. Like, that would be those three would be massive gains right there. So I hope we get there. I'm optimistic. It's hard to be sometimes. Sometimes things we take a step back, but generally I think that would be those would be huge wins.
Yeah, love it. Let's see it happen. Maybe we can get, a black swan full legalization. Who knows? We never know.
You
But
know, we're seeing some good progress, right? We're seeing states like Florida like get really damn close, and that's a huge population state, right? And like Texas right now, with just how many hemp shops are out there and hemp products are out there, and how popular they are, like things are happening. We're starting to get some populist movement, so I think I'm excited about it.
yeah, hell yeah, Chris. Well, it was great talking with you. Once again, this is Chris Violas. He represents a company called Blaze. I'll make sure to leave all his contact information, company information, in case you're not familiar with him. But thanks again, Chris. This was really great. I learned a lot from you. So thanks for coming on, just sharing just a small piece of your knowledge.
Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Yep, you have a great day. We'll talk soon. Hey, Sam here. Thanks again for listening to the GDM podcast. So we do websites and SEO for cannabis brands and operators, and we do things a little bit differently here at GDM, where we can promise results within weeks rather than months. And so if you're looking to sell more ounces, bongs, other premium products, start selling some more weed, get in touch with us at Green Dispensary Marketing to learn more. Thanks again for listening, and hope you have a great day.
Paper, blaze that trail like new world saviors. Chris Violas, no damn favors. Tech so sharp, big cut like razors. West side roots, we move like bosses. Never take L's, we flip them losses. Came from the mud, now cash deposits. Stack so high, look godly cautious. Blaze that loud, break that down. Big boy plays, we take that crown. West side roll, no breaks, no bounds. Chris Violas made fate profound. Flip that page, built that stage. Now these shops run smooth like waves. Never no lag, click that save. Stack that green, just click get paid. Numbers don't lie, check them digits. Talk compliance, we stay rigid. Touch that tech, nah, you ain't with it. Whole damn squad on blaze, we live it. Blaze that loud, break that down. Big boy plays, we take that crown. West side road, no breaks, no bounds. Chris Violas made fate profound. Blaze that. Fast track hustle, we lock them states. All that weight, nah, no mistakes. Push that law, set that pace. Blaze that path, we don't do fakes. Blaze that loud, break that down. Big boy plays, we take that crown. West side road, no breaks, no bounds. Chris Violas made fate profound. West Coast kings, we burn that strain. Keep that gold, we earn that chain. Break that mold, just learn that game. Blaze stay hot, just watch that flame.